Azure Power Lunch. As you know, we record these calls and place our recordings on our YouTube channel. So if you don't want to be recorded, you may want to drop off now. And with that, we will go with our topic of discussion, which is applications, features, and Azure API management. This feature is in limited public preview. So basically, you have to go in and submit a form with your subscription ID and the name of your instance, and then they will give you access to this feature. This is a very powerful feature, in my opinion, because it simplifies a lot of things in regards to API management, the way you manage access. So here's a quick agenda. We are going to be talking about just 1 minute or 2 minutes on API management, what it is to do a level set, and then we will talk about the applications features in Azure API management, what does it do, and most of the time we will spend on the demo. So first of all, Azure API management, as you know, is Microsoft first-party services to publish and manage and analyze APIs. The key part of the system is the gateway, which sits between the implementation of the API and its presentation, and does provide the abstraction. So you may have an API that is a legacy written in SOAP, you can expose it at rest, or you may have an API that does not support um, the modern authentication schemes like OAuth, and you can expose it as an OAuth API. Or at the same time, you want to rate control an API, like how many times it can be called. Or you may have operations from different API that you want to expose as a part of a single API. All of these things that you can do is through this gateway. And it allows you to analyze how your APIs are used. And if you want to monetize, you can do that. That's part of this product. One of the big feature launch is this applications feature. So we're gonna try to make sense of it, what it is and how it helps. And let me just move this annoying bar on the side. So what it allows you to do is, so we all know, I mean, when you want to call a API, you can use the subscription key. That's the default method, but that's not recommended because subscription key in the case of API management, somehow if it gets left in the code or misused, somebody get access to it, cause a lot of problems. Okay. So normally most people use some sort of OAuth, and OAuth is done through policies. You implement a policy, there are steps to do it. So that takes some work. And what this applications feature is trying to do is simplify things. So what it does is it allow you to create an Entra ID application at the product level, and it does it transparently behind the scene. And that way, you basically what you're doing is you're saying, okay, this is my Entra ID application that is there for my product. Okay, now if somebody wanna call this, you create a client application for it. Okay, so this is gonna be, and once again, you don't leave the Azure API management portal. All of that is done happens in the portal, and we will take a look at it. And once that is done, you basically create a secret, and that's how you do the OAuth 2.0 client credential flow. So developer, you can give them the um, give them the client ID and secret, and they can put it in Key Vault, and that's how they call it. So basically, now what you're doing is you are managing this interaction through OAuth 2.0 and through through an appropriate way, in a sense that um, that it provides you better security for your APIs. There's no subscription keys or anything like that. And the thing is, it makes it very simple because everything that you are doing it at the API management level. Yes, you can see the artifacts in Entra, and we will look at those. But as I said, the interaction main window of interaction is the API management portal. Okay, so with that, we are going to take a look at a few steps and then we will jump into it. So, um, first, you need to make sure that you enable the managed identity of the API management instance. Then you should have a product and you should enable application-based access for this product. Very simple. It's a point and click. And we will take a look what's being created behind the scene. Okay. And then you have to create a client application in order to access the product. So under that, you will create the client application, and then you will create you will generate a secret and use that secret to and the client ID to access the API management. So through OAuth protocol. Okay. So with that, let's jump into the demo. Any questions so far? Okay, so here we are. A, um, this is my API management instance. And by the way, if you see here, this is a custom portal instance. So once you submit the online form, and let me show you the online form here. Yes, let me show you here. So this is the link to the form. So once you submit the form, it will ask you for your subscription ID, ID of your application management instance, or I think resource ID, all of that, or name. Once you provide that, then after some time they reply back, they have enabled this feature, and they will send you a special URL. If you don't use this URL, you won't be able to see application and all the bells and whistles. So this is a special URL. At this time, while it is in public preview, of course, once it goes GA, there won't be any need for a special URL. So just want everybody to understand that this is the case. Okay. Then let's go into the managed identities first. So each step one time. Yes, we have turned on managed identity for for API management apps. Okay, once you turn the API management identity on, what you need to do is you need to go back um, into the Entra and give this an application level access, application management access, this managed identity. Because if you don't do it, then because this is the managed identity that APIM is using to create the app registrations. Okay, otherwise it won't be able to do it. So you have to go in and you have to give that access to do that. So that just keep that in mind. By the way, all the steps are outlined very well, but just want to mention it that you have to give that access. So once you have done that, then let's come back here and let's look at the product. So we currently have two products. We are going to add a new product, and I'm going to call it APL Demo Prod 02. Same description. It's published. And I'm gonna say that this is only OAuth token. So basically, this is a new button. You won't see this button if you are not using this URL. This is has been added now. As you can see, this is public. So basically, this is to allow you to access this thing through through OAuth. Okay, so that's why this is there. So once I create it, what it is doing is it's registering this application behind the scene. It's creating the new product. And what I can do, I'm gonna go into this product and I'm going to take this ID and I'm gonna go into Entra and I am going into the app registrations. And here we are. I'm gonna say all application, I'm gonna paste it. And look, this is the ID that it has created. Okay, sorry, app registration that it has created. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing that you have done before when you're using policy. You create two app, app registration, one for the API and one for the client. But now everything is happening through a single window and it has reduced the complexity a lot. Okay. with that, let's go back in here in our demo prod, and now let's go to applications. Okay. And it's asking you, you want to associate an application. So now let's create a new application for this. And we are going to call this application called uh, demo client 02. Okay. Any questions, folks? And we are going to just say administrator, this is the default user. I mean, if you have more user, you can give that access there, but this is the owner of this application, and it's going to create this. Um, so once again, now we have created this demo client, and let's go into this um, application. This is the application here. Right now, we haven't added a secret, but what we can do is we can copy this here. And if we go into the app registration, paste it here, we can see that this is an application. Has been created behind the scenes by the um, by the API management itself. And if we go into manage, for example, API permissions, things like that, uh, you know, uh, you can see that this has permission um, granted for this particular role. So basically, it is able to call this prod to access role. So this is so if we and I can show it to you. This is the role. This is the API management production ID. So all of that admin consent required, yes, and it has given all the consent. Just keep in mind if I'm the admin, okay, so if the admin consent required, then it will basically come through the administrator. And you may have to, if you're not the admin, there may be some repercussions. So just keep that in mind. Any questions so far? Okay, so that's that. So basically what we have done so far, we assigned the managed identity, created the managed identity for API management, we give appropriate access, and then we created a product, enabled it for OAuth, and then we created a client. And in that client, we basically created that access, and we created this client from the API management, but it created access behind the scene for that particular um, for that particular product that product application that we have created behind the scene. Okay. So with that, and by the way, once again, you can do that yourself as well, but this makes things simpler. So once that is there, now let's add a secret. Okay, and it's gonna generate a new secret. Just keep in mind, as soon as you move off from this window, the secret will go away. So I'm just gonna copy this secret, and I'm going to paste it in my side notepad, and let me show you um, what I have. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to create a token. Okay, so let's go in here. This is my PowerShell window, and let me just clear it. And first of all, let me go back here in the client screen. Um, and sorry, here in the demo client 02, what I need from here is two things. I already got the secret. I need the client ID. Okay. So I will show you the PowerShell that I have in 1 second. Um, Very simple boilerplate PowerShell that I'm using to basically create this. Sorry, one more time. Let me just. Sorry, I think I misplaced the secret, so let me generate it again. And by the way, you can set the expiry date and things like that. So That's all on you. So I'm just gonna use this secret here. Okay. And then what you need to do is go to the prod overview, and you need this in the properties. You need the audience. You need this URL. Okay. So just copy this URL, and now it's time to let me show you the um, PowerShell that I have. Okay. Let me paste it here. Okay, so this is very simple. I'm doing a client ID, client secret, scope. This is the scope, and this is my tenant ID. This is my Entra ID, and then I'm just doing a post to get the token back. Okay, so this is gonna give me the token. Let me echo dollar token to see what is the value. This is the token. So basically, I did a based on the client and the server, client application and the product application. I am doing an OAuth, and I'm getting an access token. So this is my access token. With this token, I can call this API. Okay. So with that, let me go in here in my API. I have a very simple this REST client. In that REST client, what I'm going to do is I have an authorization token, and I am going to delete it and add a new authorization token here. So sorry, in the headers, add, I'm going to add authorization. And for that, I am going to add the value here. First of all, it would be bearer. And with that space, I'm going to get copy this value from here and paste it here. Okay. And now I'm going to uh, call this API. Second, uh, let me do that again. So basically, I mean, it should work. Okay, let me call this API through a different way. So I am going to use PowerShell to call this API. I'm not sure why it is not working from here. So same PowerShell, basically I'm pasting a new link here. There's a step here. So let's go back. We have created the client, and the client is associated with it. So it should work unless until, yes, this is OAuth token. So basically, oh, I think I messed up the client ID. Sorry, guys. Let me try it again. Yeah, let me just run this entire thing again. Give me 1 second. So we have the client ID. So in the applications, um, this is the client ID. Let me use a previous one that I already tested. Okay. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to test with that. So this is another application that I have, and I'm going to use its client ID, okay, and just test it out. So this is has been already working. So hopefully this doesn't give us any demo issues. I'm going to use this client ID here and once again build my PowerShell. This is that, and I already have the secret here. And let me go to the product properties. Let me get the access token one more time. Hopefully this should work. Okay, so there is an issue with that. Hold on a second. Let me just regenerate the secret for this one. Okay. So this is the application and second, and I'm gonna generate the secret. I think there is some mess up with the secret or something. So here is the client ID. Here is the secret. I'm gonna regenerate it. Okay. Yeah. So let me just run this thing again, just to get the token, and then we will call the API. Okay, so I'm gonna do echo dollar token. This is the token, and I'm gonna use the same token now to call the API one more time. Hopefully this time it will work. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. So this time it worked. I think there was some issue um, with the somehow I messed up something in getting the token. So as you can see, you are calling it, and this thing is working, and I can show it to you. I can take this here, this thing, and I'm gonna go back to this API management tester, and I'm going to paste it, and let's see, it should work from here as well. Yes. So as you can see, the results are there. So this is kind of a very simple test, but just wanted to show you like how this applications feature simplifies how you can call your APIs through OAuth 2 with the client credential flow. Just a FYI, this is currently in public, limited public preview, so you have to apply it through a form and then you get access to it. Um, any questions, folks? If there are no other questions, thank you very much for joining and hope to see everybody next week for another session of Azure Power Lunch. Have a great rest of your day, great weekend.